What if everything you've been told about humanity's origins is just the opening chapter of a much larger story? Ancient Sumerian tablets speak of the Anunnaki descending from the stars. Aboriginal Australians describe the Weena, sky beings who shaped early civilization. Hindu texts detail the Vimanas, celestial vehicles carrying advanced beings across the cosmos. Native American tribes from the Hopi to the Lakota share remarkably similar accounts of star people who guided their ancestors. These aren't isolated myths. They're fragments of a hidden history that mainstream archaeology refuses to acknowledge. When you examine these accounts alongside modern channeled communications from beings like the Pleiadians, Arcturians, and Sirians, an undeniable pattern emerges. We're not alone. We never have been. Behind the veil of our physical reality operates an ancient alliance known as the Galactic Federation, a confederation of evolved civilizations that has been quietly orchestrating humanity's spiritual evolution for thousands of years. But who are they really? Why are they so invested in our awakening? And why now, at this pivotal moment in human history, are they finally revealing themselves? The answers will fundamentally change how you see yourself and your purpose on Earth. To truly understand the Galactic Federation's mission on Earth, we need to journey back through cosmic time itself to Eris, when our planet was nothing more than swirling cosmic dust. Yet, the universe already teemed with civilizations whose spiritual evolution would make our greatest mystics seem like children taking their first steps. Picture this. While Earth was forming its first oceans, beings of pure light and consciousness were already navigating between star systems, not in crude metal ships, but through dimensional portals created by their mastery over space and time itself. These weren't the gray aliens of popular culture. These were our cosmic ancestors, the Lyrans, whose home constellation we now call Lyra, the harp of the heavens. The Lyrans represent something profound in galactic history. They were among the first humanoid races to achieve what we might call Christ consciousness, a state where individual ego dissolves into universal love and wisdom. But here's what makes their story remarkable. They didn't hoard this enlightenment. Instead, they became cosmic gardeners, seeding life and consciousness throughout the galaxy. When you look up at the Pleiades, those 7 sister stars that have captivated humanity since we first gazed upward, you're seeing one of their greatest achievements, a star system they helped populate with beings who would later become some of Earth's most dedicated guardians. The Lyrans also established thriving civilizations around Vega, that brilliant blue star in their home constellation, and helped guide the early development of consciousness in the Arcturus system. Think of them as the spiritual grandparents of multiple galactic races, each carrying forward unique aspects of Lyrian wisdom while developing their own specialized gifts for serving the greater cosmic plan. But the galaxy wasn't destined for peaceful expansion. As consciousness spread and civilizations flourished, a shadow began to emerge from the Orion system. Not from all Orion beings, mind you, but from factions that had chosen a different path entirely. While the Lyrans and their spiritual descendants embraced unity, consciousness, and service to others, these Orion groups became obsessed with control, hierarchy, and what we might recognize as the ultimate expression of service to self-mentality. The galactic wars that followed weren't fought with primitive weapons or even advanced technology as we understand it. These were conflicts waged across multiple dimensions simultaneously, where entire planets could be shifted out of phase with reality itself, where the very fabric of space-time became a battlefield. Civilizations that had taken millions of years to develop were wiped from existence in what we would consider mere moments. The trauma of these conflicts sent shockwaves through the collective consciousness that some say still influence our planet's energy field today. Before we go deeper into how these ancient wars shaped our current reality, I need to share something important with you. Some of this information is too sensitive for public platforms, which is why we created our free newsletter, Insights Academy, where we reveal knowledge that goes far beyond what's possible here. Sign up now and receive a complimentary copy of the Kybellion, but only for a limited time. It was during this darkest period of galactic history that a revolutionary idea began to take shape among the lighter-line civilizations. Rather than continuing endless cycles of warfare and retaliation, what if advanced races could unite under a common charter, not for conquest or control, but for the protection of free will and the acceleration of consciousness evolution throughout the cosmos? This wasn't some idealistic dream, conceived in a moment of desperation. The formation of what would become the Galactic Federation required eons of careful planning, spiritual maturation, and the development of universal laws that could govern interactions between vastly different species and consciousness levels. The Arcturians, who had mastered technologies that could heal entire planetary ecosystems and had developed healing modalities that worked on soul levels across multiple incarnations, became natural leaders in this alliance. The Pleiadians brought something equally crucial: an advanced understanding of emotional body healing and heart-centered wisdom that could bridge the gap between pure logic and intuitive knowing. Their contribution wasn't just tactical. It was the emotional intelligence necessary to prevent future conflicts through genuine empathy and understanding. From the Andromeda Galaxy came beings whose perspective transcended even galactic concerns. They understood how consciousness evolution in our galaxy fit into an even larger cosmic plan involving multiple galactic clusters and dimensional realities. Their wisdom helped establish the long-term vision that still guides Federation activities today. The Sirians contributed their mastery of what we might call sacred geometry and sound frequencies, technologies that could literally restructure matter and consciousness through harmonic resonance. They understood how creation itself operates through vibrational principles, making them invaluable in establishing the energetic foundations upon which peaceful galactic civilization could be built. What made this alliance truly revolutionary was that each member race had transcended the ego-driven need for dominance that had fueled the wars. They had learned through bitter experience that true power comes not from controlling others, but from aligning with the creative force of the universe itself, what many traditions call source consciousness. But here's where our human story becomes inseparable from this cosmic history. These beings didn't abandon the war-torn regions of space. They began a patient, careful process of rehabilitation and guidance that continues to this day. Earth became one of their most important projects, not because we were primitive and needed saving, but because our planet was chosen as a grand experiment in consciousness evolution. Every ancient culture on Earth carries memories of these interactions. The Watchers mentioned in the Book of Enoch weren't mythological beings. They were Federation representatives monitoring humanity's development. The Sky People revered by Native American tribes. The Shining Ones described in Sumerian tablets, the divine beings of Hindu scriptures, all point to the same reality of ongoing contact and guidance from our galactic family. The Federation's approach to Earth has always been governed by what they call the Prime Directive, the universal law of non-interference with the natural evolution of consciousness. They can't and won't violate our free will by imposing solutions or preventing us from learning through our own choices and mistakes. But they've never abandoned us either. They respond when genuinely invited through prayer or meditation, and they're authorized to intervene when universal laws are being violated or when humanity's actions threaten the broader galactic community. Understanding this ancient history changes everything about how we view our current global situation. The same forces that once brought chaos to the galaxy are still active here on Earth, working through human institutions and belief systems to maintain control and prevent the consciousness awakening that would naturally connect us with our cosmic family. But the Federation's presence means we're not facing this challenge alone. We're part of a vast network of consciousness that has successfully transformed conflict into cooperation across countless star systems. The question isn't whether they exist or whether they're here. The question is whether we're ready to remember who we really are and step into our role as Earth's representatives in this galactic community of light. Now that we've explored the cosmic conflicts that forged the Federation's purpose, you're probably wondering, what exactly is this organization? Because here's where most people get it completely wrong. The Galactic Federation isn't what you think it is. It's not some cosmic military patrolling the galaxy with starships and laser weapons. It's not an empire expanding its territory or a government imposing laws on unwilling planets. Those are human concepts, projections of our own limited understanding of power and control onto something far more sophisticated. Think about it. If you've evolved beyond the need for conflict, why would you organize like warriors? If you've transcended scarcity thinking, why would you hoard resources or territory? The Federation represents something our current civilization can barely comprehend. A truly post-conflict society operating on principles we're only beginning to glimpse. What we're actually looking at is a harmonious network of enlightened civilizations bound together not by treaties or fear, but by shared spiritual principles and adherence to cosmic laws. Imagine trying to explain democracy to a feudal king or the internet to someone from the 1800s. That's the challenge we face in understanding Federation structure with our current paradigms. The Federation operates on complete decentralization. There's no capital planet, no supreme ruler, no central command issuing orders. Instead, it functions through cooperation so seamless, it makes our most advanced organizations look clunky and primitive. Picture a flock of birds wheeling through the sky in perfect synchronization. No leader, no commands, yet absolute unity of movement. That's closer to how the Federation operates. At its heart sits what we might call the High Council, though even that term carries baggage from our hierarchical thinking. This council consists of evolved representatives from various star nations, each bringing their civilization's unique wisdom, technology, and energetic frequency to the collective mission. But here's what's revolutionary. Leadership isn't based on power, wealth, or even seniority. It's based entirely on vibrational alignment with higher consciousness. Let me paint you a picture of what this actually looks like. When a decision needs to be made, say whether to intervene in a planetary crisis, the council doesn't debate like our politicians. These beings operate from fifth-dimensional awareness and beyond, where ego, personal agendas, and the very concept of domination simply don't exist. They perceive the situation from multiple dimensional perspectives simultaneously, accessing what we might call divine intelligence or cosmic wisdom directly. Their decision-making process occurs through telepathic consensus, but it's far more sophisticated than just mind reading. They're tapping into what some researchers call the Akashi field, the universe's information matrix, to understand the highest possible outcome for all involved. They see not just the immediate situation, but how their actions will ripple through time and space, affecting countless other civilizations and timelines. This is where it gets really fascinating. The Federation isn't just one council making all decisions. It's actually comprised of multiple specialized sub-councils, each focused on specific cosmic missions. There's a healing council composed of civilizations that have mastered medical and consciousness technologies beyond our imagination. Their work involves not just physical healing, but repairing tears in the fabric of space-time itself, restoring damaged planetary grids, and healing collective trauma across entire species. The Planetary Stabilization Council focuses on worlds undergoing major transitions like Earth right now. They monitor tectonic shifts, magnetic field changes, and the consciousness evolution of planetary populations. Their intervention is always subtle, working with natural forces rather than against them, helping civilizations navigate transformation without destroying themselves. Then there's the Spiritual Mentoring Council, perhaps the most relevant to humanity's current situation. These are civilizations that have successfully navigated the transition from third-dimensional conflict consciousness to higher-dimensional unity awareness. They understand exactly what we're going through because they've been there. Their role is to provide guidance and energetic support to emerging civilizations, always respecting free will while offering assistance to those ready to receive it. The Energetic Grid Maintenance Council might sound technical, but their work is crucial. They maintain the underlying energy networks that connect star systems, facilitate faster-than-light communication, and keep the cosmic web of consciousness flowing smoothly. Think of them as cosmic engineers working with living energy systems that span entire galaxies. Here's what blows my mind about their coordination. These various councils don't operate in isolation. They interact and coordinate their efforts with the sophistication that makes our most advanced computer networks look primitive. A healing council working on collective trauma might coordinate with the planetary stabilization team to address environmental damage, while simultaneously working with spiritual mentors to help a civilization understand the consciousness shifts needed for true healing. But how do they communicate across such vast distances and dimensional differences? This is where it gets really interesting. They use quantum entanglement, not just for particles, but for consciousness itself. They've developed what we might call consciousness networks, where individual awareness can merge temporarily with collective intelligence spanning multiple star systems. They also employ telepathic relay systems, where certain evolved beings serve as living communication nodes. Their consciousness expanded enough to maintain simultaneous contact with multiple civilizations. Imagine having a conversation with someone on the other side of the galaxy, as easily as talking to your neighbor. That's everyday reality for Federation members. New civilizations aren't just invited to join. They're gradually integrated as they achieve certain levels of spiritual maturity and technological responsibility. It's not about having the most advanced weapons or the fastest ships. It's about demonstrating that you can use power without abusing it, that you've learned to resolve conflicts without violence, and that you understand your responsibility to the greater cosmic community. The integration process itself is fascinating. A civilization might begin by having subtle contact with Federation observers, then progress to limited communication, then to participation in specific projects, and eventually to full membership with representation on relevant councils. It's organic, respectful, and always honors the developing civilization's unique path and timing. This entire structure serves as a living model for what human civilization might evolve toward. Instead of competing nation-states hoarding resources and preparing for war, imagine a world where different regions contribute their unique strengths to collective challenges, where decisions are made not by whoever has the most money or military power, but by those most aligned with wisdom and service to the greater good. The Federation shows us that unity doesn't require uniformity, that cooperation can be more powerful than competition, and that true strength comes not from the ability to dominate others, but from the wisdom to serve something greater than yourself. As we continue this journey together, start paying attention to the moments in your own life where cooperation creates better outcomes than competition. Notice how your best decisions come not from ego or fear, but from a deeper wisdom that considers the good of everyone involved. You're already practicing Federation principles. You just might not have realized it yet. Now that we understand the Federation's structure and governance, let's dive into something truly fascinating: the actual beings who make up this cosmic alliance. These aren't abstract entities or distant concepts. These are conscious, evolved civilizations with distinct personalities, cultures, and specialties, many of whom have been working directly with humanity for thousands of years. Let me introduce you to the Pleiadians first, because if you've ever felt drawn to the stars or experienced unexplained waves of compassion during meditation, you might already know their energy. The Pleiadians come from the Pleiades star cluster, that beautiful grouping of stars you can see with the naked eye, sometimes called the Seven Sisters. These beings radiate what I can only describe as liquid love. They carry frequencies of pure compassion, emotional healing, and divine feminine wisdom that can literally transform your cellular structure just by being in their presence. What makes Pleiadians unique is their incredible emotional intelligence. While other star races might focus on technology or cosmic law, Pleiadians specialize in heart activation. They appear as luminous, ethereal beings with features that seem almost too perfect: crystalline blue eyes, golden hair that seems to move with its own light, and skin that has this subtle pearl-like luminescence. But here's what's really remarkable. They don't just observe humanity from a distance. They actively incarnate here as starseeds, living human lives to anchor higher frequencies directly into our collective consciousness. Many people report Pleiadian contact through dreams, where they're taken to crystal cities filled with gardens that sing, or through sudden downloads of information about healing modalities they've never studied. The Pleiadians work primarily through the heart chakra, helping us remember that love isn't just an emotion. It's the fundamental creative force of the universe. If you've ever experienced spontaneous healing during emotional release work, or felt guided to pursue heart-centered healing practices, you might be receiving Pleiadian assistance. Now, let's shift to a completely different frequency, the Arcturians. If Pleiadians are the heart healers, Arcturians are the master technicians of consciousness itself. Originating from Arcturus, one of the brightest stars in our sky, these beings exist at such a high vibrational frequency that they appear more as geometric light formations than traditional humanoid shapes. They're tall, slender, with elongated skulls and large dark eyes that seem to contain entire galaxies of wisdom. Here's where it gets mind-bending. Arcturian ships aren't built, they're grown. These vessels are living crystalline entities that exist outside linear time, capable of materializing in multiple dimensions simultaneously. The Arcturians use sacred geometry and sound frequencies to heal not just individuals, but entire planetary grids. They're the ones working behind the scenes to stabilize Earth's ley lines and clear the lower vibrational debris left by centuries of conflict and environmental destruction. If you've ever woken up from a dream feeling like you've been in some kind of healing chamber or experienced sudden clarity about complex spiritual concepts, you might have visited an Arcturian light ship during your sleep state. They transmit what are called light codes, packets of evolutionary information that upgrade your DNA and expand your consciousness gradually so you don't get overwhelmed by too much activation at once. The Sirians bring us into even deeper mystery. Connected to both Sirius A and Sirius B, the brightest star system visible from Earth. These beings have been intimately involved in human civilization since our earliest days. Ancient Egyptians knew about Sirius B thousands of years before modern astronomy discovered it. The Dune tribe in Africa has maintained detailed knowledge of the Sirian star system for generations, including information about orbital periods that shouldn't have been accessible without advanced telescopes. Sirians are master builders of consciousness technology. They understand how sound, geometry, and intention can be combined to create structures that exist simultaneously in physical and non-physical dimensions. Think about the Great Pyramid, its mathematical precision, its alignment with stellar bodies, its ability to generate specific frequencies. This is Sirian technology, designed to serve as an interdimensional communication device and consciousness amplifier. But here's something that might surprise you. Dolphins and whales are earthly expressions of Sirian consciousness. These aren't just intelligent animals. They're active participants in maintaining Earth's energetic stability. Their songs carry frequency codes that help balance oceanic and atmospheric systems. When you feel that profound peace swimming with dolphins, you're actually connecting with an embodied form of Sirian wisdom. The Andromedans operate from an entirely different paradigm. Coming from the Andromeda Galaxy, our nearest galactic neighbor, these beings specialize in what you might call reality architecture. They're master timeline workers, helping civilizations transition from lower dimensional control systems into higher dimensional sovereignty. Andromedans appear more ethereal than physical, often described as tall, luminous beings with an almost transparent quality to their form. Their gift is philosophical and systemic. While other races might heal individuals or provide technological assistance, Andromedans help entire civilizations recognize and dissolve the belief systems that keep them trapped in limitation. They work primarily through telepathic transmission, often during meditation or moments of deep contemplation about life's bigger questions. If you've ever had sudden insights about the illusory nature of control systems or felt guided to question fundamental assumptions about reality, you might be receiving Andromedan guidance. Then we have the Lyrans, one of the founding races of the Federation, and perhaps the most ancient humanoid civilization in our galactic region. Often described as having feline or leonine characteristics, lions embody divine leadership, courage, and creative power. Their history is both inspiring and sobering. They've experienced both the heights of cosmic civilization and the devastation of galactic warfare that scattered their people across the stars. Many human souls carry Lyran genetics in their energetic blueprint, which explains why so many people feel an inexplicable connection to cats or experience dreams of ancient civilizations with crystal technologies and flying vehicles. Lions are natural leaders and pioneers, but they've learned through hard experience that true leadership serves love, not power. The Federation also includes races that exist beyond our typical understanding of form. The Avan beings, who appear as luminous bird-like entities, carrying frequencies of freedom and higher perspective. The blue beings from various star systems, who specialize in communication and truth transmission, and non-physical collectives that exist as pure consciousness, offering guidance through direct knowing rather than linear communication. What's beautiful about this cosmic family is that they don't operate from a place of uniformity. They disagree. They debate. They bring different perspectives and solutions to galactic challenges. The Arcturians might approach a problem through technological precision, while Pleiadians focus on emotional healing. Andromedans work to shift the underlying belief systems that created the problem in the first place. But they unite on the most fundamental truth. Every being, regardless of species or dimensional origin, is an expression of the one infinite creator. Evolution must always serve love, balance, and soul freedom. No race has the right to dominate or control another's development, and every civilization has something unique to contribute to the cosmic symphony of consciousness. This understanding places in the universe, and in our next section, we'll explore the specific ways these star nations have been working directly with Earth throughout our entire recorded history. When you really begin to understand the Galactic Federation's operations, one question becomes unavoidable. Why don't they just land on the White House lawn and announce themselves? Why operate from the shadows when they possess technology that could solve our energy crisis overnight, heal diseases we consider terminal, and end conflicts that have raged for generations? The answer lies in something far more profound than political strategy or fear of panic. The Federation operates according to universal laws that govern all conscious life across dimensions. Laws so fundamental that even the most advanced civilizations cannot violate them without creating cosmic imbalance. Think of it this way. Imagine you're watching a child learn to walk. Every instinct tells you to catch them before they fall to guide their every step. But you know that doing so would rob them of the essential experience of finding their own balance. The Federation faces this dilemma on a planetary scale. Except the stakes involve the spiritual evolution of entire civilizations. The law of free will stands as the most sacred principle governing all Federation activities. This isn't some bureaucratic rule. It's a divine ordinance woven into the fabric of consciousness itself. Every soul, every collective, every civilization must be free to choose its path without coercion or manipulation. Even when that path leads through darkness, even when intervention could prevent tremendous suffering, the Federation recognizes that forced evolution is no evolution at all. This explains why, despite their immense capabilities, Federation beings rarely make direct contact with developing worlds like Earth. They understand something we're only beginning to grasp, that true growth comes from within through conscious choice and earned wisdom. When a civilization is given advanced technology or spiritual insights before it's ready, the results are often catastrophic. History is littered with civilizations that received too much too soon and either destroyed themselves or became spiritually stagnant. But here's where it gets fascinating. The Federation doesn't operate from our three-dimensional perspective. They exist primarily in higher frequency dimensions, where consciousness itself becomes the medium of interaction. From these elevated states, they can perceive the soul contracts and evolutionary agreements that individual humans and humanity as a collective have made before incarnating here. This brings us to the Law of One, perhaps the most beautiful principle guiding Federation actions. This law recognizes that all beings, regardless of their current level of development, are expressions of the same infinite consciousness. No species is above another. No civilization has the right to dominate or control. The Pleiadians aren't superior to humans anymore than adults are superior to children. They're simply at different stages of the same eternal journey. This understanding completely transforms how the Federation approaches contact and assistance. They don't see themselves as saviors coming to rescue primitive humans. Instead, they recognize us as family members who are temporarily experiencing separation from our true nature. Their role is to gently remind us of what we already know deep within our souls, not to impose external solutions. The law of karma, or cosmic cause and effect, adds another layer of complexity to Federation operations. They understand that every action creates ripples across space and time, and that interfering inappropriately in a civilization's development can create karmic entanglements that affect multiple worlds and timelines. This is why their interventions are so carefully calibrated and often seem subtle to our perception. But don't mistake subtlety for inaction. The Federation is constantly engaged with Earth and humanity, just not in the ways our three-dimensional minds expect. They operate through what we might call frequency interventions, adjusting planetary energy fields, anchoring higher dimensional light codes, and working with willing human souls who have agreed to serve as bridges between dimensions. Have you ever experienced a sudden expansion of consciousness, a download of information that seemed to come from nowhere, or dreams so vivid they felt more real than waking life? These are often forms of Federation contact delivered through resonance and vibrational alignment rather than physical meetings. In higher dimensions, information isn't conveyed through words, but through direct transmission of understanding. The Federation also works extensively with what are called star seeds, souls who have incarnated on Earth from other star systems, specifically to assist in humanity's awakening process. These individuals often feel a deep sense of not belonging here. Coupled with an unexplainable knowing about cosmic realities, they serve as living bridges, helping to raise the planet's frequency through their mere presence and the work they're drawn to do. When the Federation does intervene more directly, it's typically in response to collective soul-level requests, or during moments of planetary crisis where the karmic balance itself is threatened. The nuclear age brought increased Federation attention because atomic weapons don't just affect Earth. They create distortions in the space-time fabric that can impact other dimensions and worlds. Their role as guardians of planetary sovereignty becomes crucial here. While they won't interfere with humanity's free will choices, they do work to prevent non-benevolent forces from manipulating or controlling human development. This creates a delicate balancing act, protecting without controlling, guiding without forcing, assisting without creating dependency. The Federation's ultimate goal isn't to make humanity dependent on their help, but to nurture our sovereignty through expanded awareness. They want us to remember our own divine nature and take our place as conscious participants in the galactic community, not as subjects or worshippers, but as equals who have completed our adolescent phase of development. This is why their approach often seems mysterious or indirect to human understanding. They're not playing games or being secretive for its own sake. They're honoring the profound spiritual laws that govern all existence, ensuring that humanity's awakening unfolds organically and authentically. Every synchronicity you notice, every moment of expanded awareness, every dream that carries impossible knowledge, these are the Federation's fingerprints on your consciousness, gentle reminders that you're part of something far greater than you've been taught to believe. Now, you might be wondering, if the Galactic Federation is so advanced and benevolent, why don't they just land on the White House lawn and announce themselves to the world? Why all this subtlety and mystery? The answer lies in those universal laws we explored earlier, particularly the law of free will and non-inference. The Federation operates with a level of consciousness and ethical sophistication that's almost incomprehensible to our current human mindset. They understand that forced contact, the kind Hollywood loves to dramatize, would actually be a form of spiritual violence, disrupting the natural pace of our evolution and robbing us of our sovereign choice to awaken. Think about it this way. If you're helping a butterfly emerge from its cocoon, you can't just tear it open. The butterfly needs to develop the strength through its own struggle, or it will die. Earth is in its cocoon phase right now, and the Federation serves as gentle guardians, not rescuers. Their communication methods reflect this wisdom. Instead of overwhelming us with their presence, they work through what I call the language of consciousness, vibrational frequencies, energy transmissions, and symbolic guidance that speaks directly to our souls, rather than shocking our minds into submission. The most fascinating aspect of Federation communication involves star seeds, and this is where things get deeply personal for many of you watching this. Star seeds are souls who have incarnated here from various star systems with specific missions to assist Earth's transition. These aren't random people who got chosen. They're souls who made agreements before birth, cosmic contracts, if you will, to serve as bridges between worlds during this critical time. What's remarkable is how these connections reactivate. As Earth's frequency continues rising, and we approach what many call the ascension timeline, star seeds begin remembering who they are and why they're here. It's like cosmic alarm clocks going off at precisely the right moment. The Federation doesn't randomly contact people. They reconnect with souls they've worked with for eons across multiple lifetimes and dimensions. One of the most common contact methods is channeled communication, and the evidence here is overwhelming. For over a century, we've seen consistent streams of messages from Federation sources. Beings like Ashtar from the Ashtar Command, Satkumar from Venus, the Arcturian Council, the Pleiadian High Council, and countless others. These aren't isolated incidents or modern New Age fantasies. The consistency of the messages, the sophistication of the teachings, and the transformational impact on receivers points to something far more substantial. What strikes me about genuine channeled communications is their distinctive energetic signature. They don't come through as dramatic proclamations or fear-based warnings. Instead, they carry frequencies of unconditional love, cosmic wisdom, and practical guidance for both personal healing and planetary service. The information often arrives during altered states, deep meditation, dream states, automatic writing, or what channelers describe as conscious trance. But here's where discernment becomes crucial. Not every message claiming Federation origin is authentic. The real communications carry unmistakable qualities. They're filled with love rather than fear. They empower rather than create dependency, and they provide practical wisdom rather than vague platitudes. Genuine Federation messages never violate free will by making specific predictions or demanding blind obedience. Dreams represent another powerful contact mode that most people don't recognize. When your conscious mind quiets during sleep and your soul is free to travel, many of you are actually visiting Federation lightships, attending what can only be described as interstellar classrooms, or receiving information downloads calibrated to your current level of readiness. These aren't fantasies or wish fulfillment dreams. They're multidimensional interactions happening on planes of reality our science barely acknowledges. People report remarkably similar experiences, being in crystalline rooms aboard ships, receiving healing treatments, learning about their soul missions, or undergoing what feel like DNA upgrades. The Federation uses these dream contacts to prepare souls for their earthly missions, heal deep trauma patterns, and gradually expand consciousness without overwhelming the physical system. Then, there are the more subtle contact forms that happen during waking hours. Sudden surges of insight that seem to come from nowhere. Telepathic impulses that feel distinctly different from your own thoughts. Physical synchronicities that are so precisely timed they can't be coincidental. Repeating number patterns like 111, 333, or 1111, appearing exactly when you need guidance. Many people report seeing light ships, though these sightings often happen during heightened states of consciousness rather than random encounters. The Federation understands that contact needs to match the receiver's frequency and readiness level. What's particularly fascinating is how communication works in higher dimensions. It's not the linear word-based exchange we're used to. Instead, it's an instantaneous fusion of intention, vibration, and pure knowing. You don't hear Federation communications as much as you feel them in your heart, in your body, as sudden downloads of complete understanding. Certain locations on Earth serve as natural contact points. Sacred sites like Mount Shasta, Machu Picchu, the Giza Pyramids, and Uluru aren't just ancient monuments. They're energetic gateways holding star portals and interdimensional grids. During specific planetary and cosmic alignments, these locations become windows where the veils between dimensions thin, making Federation contact more accessible. I've spoken with people who've had profound experiences at these sites. Not dramatic UFO encounters, but gentle openings of consciousness, activations of dormant abilities, and what can only be described as remembering their cosmic heritage. The ultimate purpose of Federation communication isn't just to inform, it's to activate. Every genuine contact is designed to awaken dormant memories, unlock what some call soul codes, and reconnect you with your higher self. They're not trying to create followers or dependencies. Instead, they're helping us remember our own divine nature and cosmic citizenship. If you've been experiencing any of these contact forms, the dreams, the synchronicities, the sudden knowings, trust what you're receiving. Your discernment will guide you to authentic communications. The Federation's approach creates bridges between worlds rather than dependencies. They're not here to save us, but to remind us that we're capable of saving ourselves. Their communications serve as catalysts for our own awakening. Gentle nudges back to the truth of who we really are. Right now, as you're listening to this, Earth is undergoing the most profound transformation in its recorded history. And I'm not speaking in metaphors or spiritual platitudes here. I'm talking about a measurable, observable shift in consciousness and frequency that's happening at both planetary and collective human levels. For countless eons, our planet has been locked into what we call third-dimensional density. This isn't just an abstract concept. It's the energetic frequency where separation, fear, and survival consciousness dominate reality. Think about how most of human civilization has operated. Competition over cooperation, scarcity thinking, the belief that we're isolated beings fighting for limited resources. That's third-dimensional programming at work. But something extraordinary is happening. As our solar system moves through what astronomers call the Galactic Photon Belt, a band of high-frequency light particles that our sun encounters approximately every 26,000 years, Earth is ascending into fifth-dimensional frequency. In this elevated state, unity consciousness, unconditional love, and spiritual sovereignty become the governing principles of reality. The Galactic Federation isn't just observing this process. They're intimately involved in supporting it. But here's what's crucial to understand. They're not controlling this ascension. Remember those universal laws we discussed earlier? The Federation operates as supporters and stabilizers, never as directors of our evolution. This transformation has to come from within humanity itself. Why does Earth's ascension matter so much to beings across the galaxy? Our planet is what they call a living library, a rare repository of genetic, elemental, and spiritual diversity that exists nowhere else in this density. When a planet like Earth successfully ascends, it creates ripple effects that influence the evolution of countless other civilizations. Every choice we make during this transition period isn't just about our personal growth. It's contributing to a galactic shift in consciousness. The Federation's involvement happens primarily behind the veil. They're working through energetic interventions, maintaining protective grids around our planet, and transmitting vibrational frequencies that help stabilize the ascension process. If you've been experiencing what people call ascension symptoms, intense emotional purging, unusually vivid dreams, strange time distortions, or spontaneous spiritual awakenings, you're feeling the effects of your body and soul adjusting to these higher frequencies. These symptoms aren't random. The Federation works closely with our higher selves, spirit guides, and planetary guardians to calibrate this process. Their goal is to minimize chaos while maximizing awakening. They understand that too much energetic shift too quickly could destabilize human consciousness, while too little would leave us trapped in the old paradigm. One of their most significant contributions involves activating what we call star seeds, souls who have incarnated from other star systems with specific missions to anchor light during Earth's ascension. If you've always felt like you don't quite belong here, if you've had an inexplicable knowing about cosmic realities, or if you feel a deep calling to help heal this planet, you might be one of these souls. Star seeds function as frequency transmitters by living authentically, healing generational trauma patterns, and embodying unconditional love in their daily lives. They help stabilize Earth's energetic grid. The Federation provides ongoing support to these individuals through intuitive guidance, energetic upgrades during sleep states, and protection from darker forces that seek to distort the ascension path. And yes, there are forces working against this transformation. For millennia, certain non-benevolent entities have maintained what some researchers call the Arcturian matrix, a system of energetic manipulation designed to keep human consciousness trapped in lower frequencies. These forces have operated through suppressing truth, dividing humanity against itself, and keeping souls locked in cycles of disempowerment. But here's the remarkable thing. As Earth's frequency continues to rise, these control structures are being systematically dismantled. The Federation doesn't fight these forces with weapons or aggression. That would violate their operating principles. Instead, they use pure light, clarity, and frequency work to dissolve these systems from within. Darkness cannot exist where there is sufficient light. Much of their work happens through Earth's natural systems. They're activating crystalline grids buried deep within the planet, realigning ley lines that carry energetic information across continents, and opening dimensional portals that allow higher frequencies to anchor more easily. They guide planetary stewards, shamans, light workers, healers, and conscious individuals to perform ceremonies, clear energetic distortions, and reawaken sacred knowledge that has been deliberately buried. The communication methods we explored in the previous section become especially important during ascension. The Federation increases its contact with receptive humans during this time, not through dramatic physical encounters, but through the subtle channels we discussed: synchronicities, downloads of information, energetic transmissions, and guidance through dreams and meditation. What does Earth's highest timeline look like? The Federation holds a vision of our planet where humanity lives in complete harmony with nature, where technology elevates consciousness rather than distracting from it, where artificial borders and separation dissolve into cooperation and unity. They see a world where remembering our cosmic origins becomes as natural as breathing, where every human understands their role as both an individual soul and part of a greater galactic community. This isn't fantasy, it's an encoded potential within humanity's collective soul. The Federation knows this because they've witnessed other civilizations successfully navigate similar transitions. They understand the stages, the challenges, and the ultimate possibilities that await a species willing to evolve beyond separation consciousness. Your role in this process matters more than you might realize. Every time you choose love over fear, unity over division, truth over comfortable lies, you're contributing to the collective frequency shift that makes ascension possible. The Federation sees each human as a powerful co-creator in this transformation, not a passive recipient of cosmic change. The greatest mission in galactic history is happening right now, and you're not just witnessing it. You're an active participant in Earth's journey home to the stars. Now, I need to address something that's been weighing on my mind throughout this entire exploration. The elephant in the room that we can't ignore any longer. While the Galactic Federation concept has genuinely awakened cosmic belonging and spiritual hope for countless souls, it's also become a lightning rod for controversy, distortion, and frankly, some pretty deliberate disinformation campaigns. Here's what I've learned after years of research. Navigating this territory requires both radical open-mindedness and razor-sharp discernment. The truth about the Federation isn't hiding in sensational YouTube thumbnails or clickbait conspiracy theories. It emerges through resonance, wisdom, and what I call spiritual maturity. That ability to feel truth in your bones rather than just believing what sounds exciting. Let's tackle the biggest controversy head-on. Is any of this actually real, or are we all just participating in an elaborate New Age fantasy? The skeptics make compelling arguments. They point out that there's no physical evidence, no ships landing on the White House lawn, no undeniable proof that would satisfy a scientific materialist. Some dismiss it entirely as escapist mythology for people disillusioned with earthly political systems. But here's what these critiques consistently overlook, and this is crucial to understand. The Federation doesn't operate on our dense physical plane. They exist in higher frequency dimensions where consciousness, intention, and thought create reality in ways that our current scientific paradigm simply cannot measure. Dismissing their existence because they don't conform to third-dimensional physics is like dismissing the soul because you can't see it under a microscope. We're dealing with multi-dimensional contact that transcends our conventional understanding of what constitutes real. However, and this is a big however, not all Federation representations out there are pure or accurate. I've encountered numerous false narratives that have been deliberately injected into the spiritual community. Some come from well-meaning but misinformed individuals who genuinely believe they're channeling Federation messages. Others, more troubling, appear to come from entities actively seeking to confuse, divide, and manipulate seekers. I've seen messages channeled supposedly from the Federation that promote fear, spiritual superiority, or complete dependence on external saviors. These are not hallmarks of genuine Federation contact. The authentic Federation frequency is consistently grounded in free will, respect, unconditional love, non-hierarchical relationships, and personal empowerment. They never promote savior complexes or apocalyptic fear-mongering. This brings me to one of the most persistent and damaging myths in this space: the idea that the Federation will swoop in to save humanity from destruction or reveal themselves en masse to usher in some kind of golden age. This projection mirrors old religious programming about external salvation, and it fundamentally disempowers individuals. The Federation respects our sovereignty far too much to interfere in such dramatic ways. They prefer to assist, guide, and protect where cosmically appropriate. But they won't rob humanity of the sacred opportunity to awaken from within. Think about it from their perspective. If they solved all our problems for us, we'd never develop the spiritual muscles necessary for our own evolution. We'd remain dependent children rather than becoming the sovereign cosmic citizens we're meant to be. Another source of confusion comes from the sheer volume of contradictory messages across different channelers and sources. One person claims the Federation said this. Another insists they said the complete opposite. How do you navigate this maze of conflicting information? I've developed a simple but effective approach. Truth isn't in the source. It's in the message's energy signature. Genuine higher realm communication has a distinctive resonance. It feels clear, compassionate, and peaceful. It expands your awareness without inducing fear or panic. It empowers rather than diminishes your personal agency. It connects you more deeply to your own inner wisdom rather than making you dependent on external authority. False or distorted messages, by contrast, often carry urgency, fear, or demands for specific actions. They might make you feel special or chosen in ways that separate you from others. They frequently contain timelines, predictions, or claims that can't be verified. Trust your inner compass here. Your intuition is far more sophisticated than most people realize. I also want to address the concerning trend of blending Galactic Federation concepts with fear-based alien agendas. You've probably encountered narratives about false flag alien invasions, mind control through advanced technology, or galactic empires locked in cosmic warfare. These stories attempt to paint all off-world contact with the same brush of suspicion and fear. While it's true that not all interdimensional beings have humanity's best interests at heart, lumping all off-world entities into one threatening category reveals a fundamental lack of discernment. The universe is vast and diverse. There are beings of incredible wisdom and compassion, just as there are entities with more self-serving agendas. The Federation represents the former, councils of evolved civilizations dedicated to supporting consciousness evolution throughout the galaxy. The key to navigating all this complexity is learning to tune out the noise and tune into your inner knowing. The Federation doesn't seek worship, fear, or blind obedience. They invite remembrance of your own multidimensional nature. They position themselves not above us as superior beings, but beside us as cosmic family members who've walked similar evolutionary paths. When you encounter Federation-related information, ask yourself, does this expand my sense of personal power or diminish it? Does it connect me more deeply to love and wisdom, or does it generate fear and dependency? Does it honor the complexity and beauty of the awakening process, or does it oversimplify with promises of external salvation? The most authentic Federation contact I've witnessed always points people back to their own inner authority, their own connection to Source, their own capacity for wisdom and discernment. They're not here to be worshipped or to create another external belief system. They're here to remind us who we really are. Infinite consciousness, having a temporary human experience with all the creative power and responsibility that entails. This discernment becomes even more crucial as we move deeper into Earth's transformation process, which we explored in our previous discussion about ascension. The Federation's role in supporting this shift makes them a natural target for disinformation campaigns designed to confuse and divide those awakening to larger cosmic realities. This story we've been exploring together isn't really about beings in distant star systems or ships moving through the cosmos. It's about you. It's about that quiet voice that speaks to you in moments of stillness, the one that has always whispered that you came here for something far greater than what you've been told. You know that feeling, don't you? That sense of being a stranger in a strange land, even in your own hometown. That inexplicable homesickness for a place you can't name. A longing that no earthly achievement or relationship has ever quite satisfied. Your soul remembers what your mind has forgotten, that you span galaxies, that your essence has danced between dimensions, and that every challenge you faced here on Earth is part of a mission you volunteered for before you ever took your first breath. The Galactic Federation isn't here to save you. They're here to remind you of what you already are, a sovereign, multi-dimensional being of light with the power to shape timelines, shift realities, and awaken others simply through your presence. Their invitation isn't one to believe, it's one to remember. Remember your origins, your purpose, your connection to a cosmic family that has never abandoned you, even when you felt most alone. Many of the souls incarnated on Earth right now specifically chose to be here during this unprecedented time of transformation. Before you were born, you sat in council with Federation beings, mapping out the experiences that would crack you open just enough to let the light pour through. You agreed to forget temporarily so that your remembering would be authentic, earned through your own inner work, rather than simply handed to you. These aren't just pretty metaphors. The awakening process so many are experiencing, those sudden spiritual openings, dreams of other worlds, the feeling of being dropped onto the wrong planet. These experiences aren't random. They're activations orchestrated by your own soul in cooperation with your Federation guides, timed precisely for when you're ready to handle the expansion of your consciousness. Perhaps you've noticed some of these signs in your own life, recurring dreams of spacecraft or encounters with beings of light, a visceral emotional reaction when you see images of space or hear discussions about extraterrestrial life, not fear, but recognition, like seeing a photograph of your childhood home. Maybe you've discovered natural healing abilities, found yourself knowing things you never learned, or experienced moments of telepathic connection with others. Some of you have seen them directly, those points of light moving across the night sky in patterns that defy conventional aircraft, orbs of luminescence that seem to respond to your thoughts, or craft that appear just long enough for you to witness before dissolving back into the stars. These aren't coincidences or wishful thinking. They're acknowledgments, gentle confirmations from your galactic family that you're not alone in this work. There's a phenomenon occurring now that Federation teachers call soul braiding, where higher dimensional consciousness temporarily or permanently merges with human awareness to assist in the planetary mission. You might experience this as sudden downloads of information, periods where you feel like you're channeling wisdom from somewhere beyond your normal awareness, or times when you look in the mirror and barely recognize the ancient being looking back at you through your own eyes. The loneliness that many starseeds carry isn't a flaw or weakness. It's homesickness for your true family. Recognizing your Federation connection doesn't eliminate the challenges of human existence, but it provides a framework for understanding why you've always felt different, why conventional success never quite fulfilled you, why you're drawn to serve humanity's awakening, even when it's thankless work. This connection strengthens through practices that raise your vibrational frequency, Not complicated rituals or expensive courses, but simple acts of alignment. Meditation that connects you to the silence between thoughts. Time spent in nature where you can feel the Earth's consciousness directly. Working with crystals that hold geometric patterns matching your soul's blueprint. Sacred geometry isn't just pretty patterns. It's the language your Federation family uses to communicate across dimensions. As you raise your consciousness, you naturally become a bridge between worlds. You're a receiver of light, translating cosmic frequencies into forms that other humans can understand and integrate. You're a living beacon, demonstrating that it's possible to be fully human while maintaining connection to your galactic heritage. But discernment is crucial here. Genuine Federation contact always feels loving, empowering, and aligned with service to others. It never makes you feel special in a way that separates you from humanity. It never asks you to surrender your critical thinking. It never promises to solve your problems for you. True contact empowers you to solve them yourself with their guidance and support. The beings working with Earth's ascension respect your free will. Absolutely. They won't override your choices or rescue you from the consequences of your decisions. Instead, they offer themselves as companions on the journey, sharing wisdom when asked, providing energetic support during difficult transitions, and celebrating every breakthrough in your conscious evolution. Recognizing your Federation connection isn't about feeling chosen or special. It's about accepting responsibility for your role in this cosmic moment of transformation. You're not here by accident. You're not a victim of circumstances. You're a volunteer in the greatest mission your soul has ever undertaken, the conscious evolution of an entire planet and all the beings who call it home. The question isn't whether you're connected to the Galactic Federation. The question is whether you're ready to remember that connection and step fully into the role you came here to play. The question is no longer whether the Galactic Federation is real. The question is whether you're ready to remember who you truly are and why you came here during this extraordinary time in human history. Everything we've explored together has been leading to this moment of recognition. You are not a passive observer watching this cosmic drama unfold from the sidelines. You are an active participant in humanity's greatest transformation. The very fact that you've stayed with this information, that something deep within you recognizes its truth, reveals that you are already answering the call. The Federation's invitation isn't about joining some external organization or waiting for ships to appear in the sky. It's fundamentally a call to rise into your authentic nature, not just to understand ascension intellectually, but to embody it through every choice you make, every relationship you nurture, every moment you choose love over fear. Think about how your perspective has shifted just in recent months or years. You've probably noticed that you can no longer tolerate certain conversations, certain entertainment, certain ways of being that once felt normal. This isn't you becoming judgmental. It's your frequency naturally rising. You're literally outgrowing the old paradigm from the inside out. Walking this path means learning to hold compassion for a world that's still learning to heal. It means choosing truth, even when it makes you unpopular, even when family members think you've lost your mind, even when colleagues look at you strangely for refusing to participate in conversations that drain your energy. It means trusting your intuition above the constant noise of fear and confusion that dominates mainstream discourse. You become a pillar of peace and stability for others who are beginning their own awakening journey, not by preaching or trying to convince anyone, but by simply being authentically yourself. Your presence becomes a permission slip for others to remember their own truth. The Federation walks beside every soul who chooses conscious evolution, not because you're special in some elitist way that separates you from others, but because you're willing to remember your divine nature and act from that remembrance. You're willing to do the inner work that most people find too challenging or frightening. This awakening changes everything about how you move through the world. Your relationships naturally shift. Some deepen beyond what you thought possible, while others fade away without drama or conflict. Your career choices align more closely with your values, even if it means less money or social status. Your daily priorities reorganize themselves around what actually matters: connection, creativity, service, and growth. You begin to see through the artificial structures that once seemed so solid and permanent. The corporate ladder, the consumer culture, the political theater. It all starts to look like elaborate games that you no longer need to play. This isn't about becoming irresponsible or checking out of life. It's about engaging with life from a completely different foundation. With cosmic awareness comes cosmic responsibility. You become a bridge between worlds, helping others navigate their awakening naturally and gently. You learn to heal generational trauma patterns that have been running through your family line for decades or centuries. You anchor higher frequencies simply by being present and authentic in whatever situation you find yourself. Your individual transformation creates ripples that extend far beyond what you can see. Your family members start asking different questions. Your co-workers notice something different about your energy. Your community begins to shift in subtle but profound ways. This is how planetary consciousness actually changes one awakened individual at a time, creating expanding circles of influence. How do you know if you're ready to fully embrace your cosmic identity? You feel genuinely called to serve others' awakening process. You discover natural healing abilities emerging, maybe through your hands, your voice, or simply your presence. Your dreams become more vivid and prophetic. You feel deeply connected to nature and all living beings. The artificial nature of many societal structures becomes painfully obvious. These signs often come with significant challenges. You might feel increasingly isolated from friends and family members who remain deeply embedded in the old paradigm. You struggle with how much truth to share and when. You navigate a world that often seems hostile to higher consciousness, where speaking authentically can cost you relationships, jobs, or social standing. Learning to trust your inner guidance over external authorities becomes a daily practice. Every news cycle, every social pressure, every well-meaning family member who thinks you need to get back to normal becomes an opportunity to choose between your truth and their expectations. But understand this: these challenges are not signs that you're on the wrong path. They are initiations, opportunities to strengthen your connection to your authentic self. You are never alone in this process. The Federation, your soul family, and growing numbers of awakened humans are supporting you in ways both seen and unseen. This awakening is not about escaping Earth or waiting to be rescued. It's about transforming this planet from the inside out, creating the new Earth that exists first in consciousness and then manifests in physical reality. You came here specifically to participate in this transformation. Envision humanity's future, a species that has remembered its cosmic origins and taken its place in the galactic community. Technology developed in harmony with spiritual wisdom. Societies organized around love, cooperation, and the recognition that all life is sacred. Children growing up knowing they are infinite beings having a human experience. This future is not guaranteed. It depends entirely on the choices being made right now by souls like you who are remembering their true nature. Every time you choose authenticity over conformity, every time you speak truth with compassion, every time you trust your intuition over fear-based programming, you cast a vote for this timeline. The light is rising. The old systems are crumbling, not because they're being destroyed from outside, but because they cannot sustain themselves when enough people withdraw their energy and attention. The timelines are converging, and the invitation has been extended to every human being on this planet. You were never actually disconnected from your cosmic family, from Source, from your true nature. You were only asleep, playing a role in this grand awakening story. But now the alarm clock is ringing, and your participation matters more than you may realize. The call to cosmic awakening is sounding. Your soul recognizes it, even if your mind still has questions. Trust what you know in your heart to be true. If this video resonated with you, let us know by commenting. I understood it.